There are two skies in the world, two worlds that are separated by a white fluffy canvas of clouds. In the sky which rose above the snow-white surface lived the spirits of heaven. Day and night these creatures spent under the blue sky, building castles in the air out of clouds, competing in the art of flight and celebrating the days of the sun and moon. Many spirits are not averse to playing snowballs from the clouds. Because of these mischievous guys, you might sometimes see dozens of small cloud snowballs if you look at the sky. Spirits of the heaven were forbidden to descend to earth, to fly beyond the cloud cover. This prohibition was kept by all the spirits of heaven and passed down from generation to generation. Were they sad about it? By no means. The spirits of the sky seemed to be happy with the endless fluffy white clouds under their feet and the bright sun with stars overhead. Only occasionally their serene life got interrupted by noisy metal birds or helicopters cutting through the sky. At such times the spirits scattered and hid inside the clouds from the roaring sounds. Sky spirits, old-timers, still remembered the quiet times when only birds came to visit them. By the way, the birds passed a message from the world under the clouds. Many spirits liked to listen to these stories and tried to imagine all the things that the wild geese, storks, and cranes told them. But for most, the world below remained a place full of oddities and dangers. Although it would be wrong to say that none of the spirits wanted to fly into the world under the clouds and see everything with their own eyes. Rick sat on the edge of a huge cloud, dangling his legs and gazing thoughtfully at the fluffy clouds, trying to figure out what they were hiding. About this spirit, we can say that he has got his head in the clouds in both the literal and figurative sense. Spirits around him thought he was too curious and even a little queer because he dreamed too much and asked questions that no spirit of heaven had an answer to. Rick spent most of his time alone. He wandered through the fluffy white fields, hoping to find a bird that could tell him a wonderful story about the earth. Rick rarely played with the other spirits because each time he was the first out of the game. And now, as he was once again lost in his thoughts, a cloud snowball flew into his bag. "Rick's out!" Lou said triumphantly. Lou loved the snowballing and any game in which you need to show agility and quickness. He was the best at it. "Ricky, are you thinking about that world again?" asked Esther. Her face showed obvious concern, but you know we can't go there. We've been told that since we were born, as if it's dangerous, as if there are so many iron birds down there that it is simply impossible to live there. But how can you talk about it without ever having been there? I'm sure there must be a way to get there. Aren't you wondering what the clouds really hide? Esther shrugged her shoulders. I'm fine here. Here we live with no worries. Rick, who knows what dangers lurk down there? Maybe there aren't countless iron birds there. What if there is something even more terrible and dangerous? You keep saying the same thing, but I will not for a moment stop dreaming of having at least one glimpse of that world. Day by day we perform repetitive actions and think only of ourselves. I'm sure there's more to this world than that. Esther looked at Rick for a moment, then turned her gaze to a small cloud in the distance. You know, my mom told me that when you're in doubt, when you think you've lost your way and don't know where to go next, you should go to the big cloud. It is wiser than any of us. It has answers to all questions. Usually after a conversation with it, everyone stops thinking about the world under the clouds. Or what? Rick asked. You'll find out for yourself, Esther said quietly. Ricky, you are a strange spirit, but you are my friend, remember that. But whatever you choose, I'll be happy for you. With that, Esther turned and walked away. It seemed to Rick that something had upset Esther, that she was already regretting that she had shared the secret about the big cloud with him. However, he had no intention of backing down. After making sure that none of the familiar spirits noticed him, Rick headed for the sacred place of heaven. It wasn't difficult to find the big cloud. All the sky spirits gathered here for the holidays, but the rest of the time there was no one here, so Rick didn't worry about anyone seeing him. Rick, what brings you here? Big Cloud asked. I was told you could help, or more precisely, I don't quite understand, but I think so. A little later, Rick continued. I can't live like this anymore. My heart yearns for something new. I so want to get into the world under the clouds. Oh, Ricky, I can see that you've lost your way, but now you're trying to find a new way. Alright, I'll tell you how to get where you want to go. Really? Rick's eyes lit up. Yes, but the spirits who came to me with the same request immediately gave up their dream. But why? The cloud hesitated and finally said, to get to the world under the clouds, you must fulfill one condition. What is it? I'm ready to do whatever I can, Rick exclaimed. Many spirits make such bold statements, but no one is ready to prove it. Rick, you really have to sacrifice everything for your dream. You must give me your spirit and I will turn it into rain that will fall over the earth. In the form of rain, you can go down there and see everything with your own eyes. However, the rain can't go on forever. You will disappear as soon as the last drop reaches the surface of the earth. The big cloud fell silent, and Rick tried to make sense of what he's just heard. So, I will become rain and disappear for this world? Asked the spirit. I'm afraid you'll disappear for both worlds as soon as the rain stops. So, Ricky, are you still willing to do this? Asked the cloud. Rick jumped back on a small cloud and looked out at the world above the clouds. Here he spent his entire life playing with friends in snowballs, building castles in the air and dreaming of adventures lying on fluffy clouds. Rick was one step away from fulfilling his dream, but for a moment he felt a little sad that he would never be able to visit this place again. Then he realized that Es knew everything. She knew and probably didn't want Rick to come here. But Esther was always warm to him, so she couldn't keep quiet. She saw how desperate Rick was to change his life. He was different from other spirits. This world was too small for him. Esther understood all this. Sorry, Es, and goodbye, Rick whispered into the vast sky. Cloud, turn me into rain and send me to the world under the clouds. Cloud was surprised at Rick's tenacity. Usually the spirits could not decide to take this step, could not give up everything they had. But this spirit was different in every sense. So be it, said the big cloud. A warm summer rain started. Its drops shimmered beautifully in the evening sun. Rick could feel himself in every drop of rain. He looked up and saw the sky. There is a sky in this world too, Spirit thought. It was different in its color from the sky of the world above the clouds. Rick had watched the perfect blue sky all his life and never thought it could be any different. Gray, crimson, colorless, and yellowish. Meanwhile, the wind drove the cloud further and further, and the rain fell over fields and forests, over kitchen gardens and orchards, over the river and lake. It rained for a long time because Rick's desire to be here was great and sincere. The Spirit could see many beautiful flowers, trees, birds and animals, people hurrying somewhere under colorful umbrellas. Rick enjoyed every second, every moment, trying to see as much as he could. He was infinitely happy because the dream of his whole life came true. The rain was getting quieter. Rick knew that soon he would disappear completely. How nice it would be to send a message to Esther. She will definitely be worried. If only I could express how happy I am now, thought the Spirit. The last large drops fell on a sunflower's petal. The sun shone brightly on everything. Had Rick disappeared? Oh no, not at all. The big cloud was wrong. Rick had become something more. Raindrops were soaked up by the flowers and trees. They were absorbed by the waters of rivers and lakes. Puddles appeared on the roads, thanks to which birds and animals quenched their thirst. Now Rick is everywhere, in every blade of grass, in every flower and pond. He became a part of the world to which he aspired every moment of his life. But most of all, the Spirit liked the fountain located in the city park. This is where Rick found a new home. The waters of the fountain reflected the sky as a reminder of his former home. The park was a favorite place of local residents. Amateur musicians gathered here once a week and arranged open-air concerts for the citizens. Families with children came here to relax, and in the depth of the park, artists settled down with easels and worked on their future masterpieces. Rick had practiced building castles out of clouds for a while, and now he created figures of various birds and animals from the water of his fountain, which amused the children who passed by. Adults, if they noticed a water crane or a butterfly, thought that they were imagining things. Esther began to worry because she hadn't seen Rick for a long time. Has he really decided to go down into the world under the clouds? She thought. Then I saw a crane circling around her. The wings of this bird shimmered in the rays of the sun with all the colors of the rainbow. Esther had never seen anything like that. She decided to take a closer look at the crane. It was the most amazing thing Ez had ever seen in her life. The bird was not real. Its wings, beak, and head were actually water. Then the water crane spread its wings and broke into thousands of tiny drops. Esther realized that Rick had sent her the crane. Her friend managed to realize his dream and he finally found happiness. And Esther herself was happy for Rick.